Hello everybody, my name is Finley and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be doing a viewer request for a full flight in the Gulfstream G550. Today we're going to be going from rainy Portland down to sunny San Jose, California. So let's go ahead and hop into the flight deck and get into it. Okay, so here we are in the flight deck of the Gulfstream, and we're just going to go ahead and start with our APU start checklist. So the first thing we're going to do is come over to the overhead panel, and we're going to go ahead and arm our emergency power. And once the emergency power is armed, we're going to see that we get our standby displays here, MCDU 1 and number 3. Next, we're going to go ahead and turn on our main batteries. That's left and right batteries, and we'll make sure that we're above 22 and below 27 volts. We get display unit 1 and display unit 4. I'm going to wait for this sensor to power up so I can bring this back to the 2/3 and get my CAS displayed down here in the bottom left corner. Okay, so we're selected the PFD. We're going to go 2/3, and then I have it set up. I like flight controls on the top and the CAS message on the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and perform our APU fire test. So up here in the middle, we'll hold that and verify that we get APU fire as well as we can hear the bell. We'll go ahead and cancel those. We'll go APU master on the left here on and verify that our APU air is on. And then we'll turn on our left main pump. And then we're just going to wait for this ready light to be illuminated. Okay, the APU is ready, so we'll go ahead and turn on our nav light, and then we're going to go and press start. So on the left here we have EGT, and then on the right we have the APU RPM. So we're going to wait until the APU reaches 100%. Alright, so it's at 100, and then APU generator will come on. APU air is already on, cabin galley at 60 Hertz, this entire panel can come on, power transfer and pump could come on. We'll turn on the auxiliary pump and watch down here to make sure that our brake pressure gets charged up to 3000 psi. Okay, it's charged. We'll go ahead and turn off the pump. Seatbelt sign can come on, and our brakes are set. We'll also go ahead and turn on our IRSs 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now that our IRSs have started to align, what we'll go ahead and do is get our fuel coming as well as our passengers. So we'll go to fuel and payload. For this flight, we are going to need 6,200 pounds in this case. I like to take extra gas just in case. In this case, I'll just round it up to 10,000 pounds. So we'll take 10,000 pounds, and then we should have should be five passengers. So we'll set 9,900 pounds, and then 5 passengers. And then we'll say that's a total of 200 pounds of bags. So we'll go ahead and set that, and then we'll start the fueling. We currently have 3,500 pounds. And then we'll go into the boarding, and then we'll hit take passengers to plane, and then we're just waiting on the van. So while we're waiting for that, we can go ahead and start programming our FMC. So we'll go pause init. We're at Portland. We're going to select the GPS position 1. So we'll go ahead and load that, and then go into flight plan. We're going from Portland to San Jose, which is KSJC. Put that in there, and then departure. So we'll go ahead and pull up our flight plan here, and it should be, there we go. Okay, so Portland via runway. Okay, it says 28 left, but we're parked on the north side, so I'm going to take 28 right, the Mini 5, and then the HISKU transition. So Portland, 28 right, Mini 5, HISKU, we'll go and activate that. FMC will take a second while it processes those waypoints, and then it'll activate it. And then after HISKU, we will go HISKU via the Quebec 5 airway, and then we're going to HUPTU, so dot HUPTU, HUPTU. We'll put that in the via 2, and that's our airway. And then from HUPTU, we're going to go into the arrival, so we're going to go nav, arrival, star, it'll be the BRICS 3, CHBLI transition, and then it'll be the ILS runway 30 left. Oh, I'm sorry, the ILS 30 left, and then no transition on that. So again, ILS 30 left, no transition for the BRICS 3, and then the CHBLI transition on the arrival. So we'll go and activate that. Okay, now that's been activated, we're lastly going to come down and just take KSJC and close the flight plan. And that's basically going to tell the FMC that that's where our flight plan ends, and that will solve our issues later of the perf not showing up. Okay, so as our fuel is just finishing up here, we'll go ahead and start the perf. So from the flight plan page, we can go to perf init, and we're flying November 870 Charlie Mike. Let's see here, for the cruise, we're going to go at Mach 0.85, and we can leave everything else the same. We'll go to the next page. Next, okay, we're going to flight level 450. Our cruise winds are going to be averaging at 278 at 27. We'll go to the next page. So our gauge is the 9,900, so we'll go 9,900 and put that in the fuel. And we said we have 5 passengers, and we'll say we have 300 pounds of cargo. So we'll go ahead and confirm that, and we'll go perf takeoff. And then we'll go and enter the data for Portland. So the winds are currently 230 at 6. And the air temperature is currently 11 degrees Celsius. Alright, there's no obstacles on this departure. We'll go NIS off, everything else is operative, and then we'll go flaps 10 for departure, flex, EPR. We'll go and confirm all that. And there's our V speeds, and then we can also go up here and select flight ref and see that those V speeds have been auto-populated. So that's the perf taken care of. Let's see here. I like to switch PFD 1 over to full. Nothing we need to change in there. We'll go to nav and select FMS 1. So now we're tracking off with the GPS. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing on this side. We'll leave the 2/3 display up over here though. We can see that we're still waiting on the IRSs to align. We'll come up here. We're going to be going straight to our cruising altitude of flight level 450. Let's see here. Our initial heading is going to be 279. So we'll go 279. And then we'll go ahead and set the initial speed at 200. We have LNAV, VNAV with takeoff. Alright, we'll go ahead and move on to the before start checklist. So our crank start masters are off. Our emergency power is armed with 3 dark. Fire detection fault. All good there. And the CAS has been checked. We'll go ahead and run. Loop A, loop B for engine 1. Loop A, loop B for engine 2. Systems have been tested, engine bleeds are off. We'll go ahead and turn the packs on. Temperature control panel is set. Auto and landing over there. EVS, NI, okay, come on. NIS, EVS, windshield heats are all off. Fuel system has been set. Crew and passenger oxygen were on auto, and the valve is on. Nose wheel pedal, the disconnect is off and the power is off. Clocks are set in 0, V-speeds are set. CAS messages have been checked. Engine control is showing EPR to toga. FMSs are set. Fuel controls are off. Lower pedestal switches are checked. Trims, I'm going to go ahead and set to the bottom of the green here. So anywhere around 9 is where it likes it. Alright. Exterior pre-flight has been completed. Our exterior pre-flight has been completed. At this point, we'll go ahead and verify, okay, our boarding is complete. So we're going to go to the ground page. We'll go ahead and remove the chocks, close the cargo door, close the main door. And now we'll go for the start. So our parking brake is set with 3000 psi. The door is closed. We'll go and set engine start down here. That gives us our bleed and our total gas temperatures. Beacon is coming on. Start master is coming on. Okay, our APU air is on. Our isolation valve is open. We'll go and start engine number 2. So we're looking for the high pressure turbine to reach around 20%. Ignition, and there's the fuel introduction. Okay, and there's light off. You can see the total gas temperature rise. Alright, starter's disengaged. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for the left side here. Okay, starter valve is open. Again, looking for 20%. Okay, we'll go left engine to run. There's light off. Alright, now we're just waiting for the starter to disengage. Okay, start master comes off. APU, we'll go ahead and stop that. Bleeder panel is set, fuel panel. We'll go ahead and turn on our alternate pumps. Kelwing anti-ice is going to go to auto on all 4. Windshield and AOA and probes can all come on. We'll go ahead and pull up the flight control page. We'll go ahead and check our ground spoilers so that they're armed. Left engine up, right engine up, and just verifying that those close. We'll go ahead and stow those, and I'll bring them up manually. Then we'll go and check the flight controls, so all the way up, down, right, left. We'll check the rudder, right and left. Stab, roll, and rudder trim have been set. Engine instruments are all in the white. Nose wheel steering is going to go power on, and we'll flip the switch down. We'll go back to the map page here. Flaps are coming down 10 degrees. Displays are set for taxi. We'll go and turn off the APU master. We'll turn on our taxi light. We'll release the parking brake, and then we'll go taxi. So we'll probably just make a left-hand turn out of here and then taxi out to runway 28 right. I'm going to bring up the secondary engine page down there. So just verifying that our nose wheel steering is working, and then the brakes are good. Okay, and then we'll just check the reversers. So right reverser out, and then left reverser out. Just verifying that those deploy. Alright, we'll make the right here on Alpha and taxi out to runway 28 right. Taxi checklist, brakes and steering are checked, reversers are checked, cabin control panel is auto and flight, and the cabin is ready. Alright, and then as we're taxiing out here, flaps are set for takeoff with 10 degrees. Warning is in inhibit. V speeds are set, and we're waiting on the lights. Alright, the altimeter's set. We'll go ahead and throw our transponder on TARA. Alright, before takeoff, checklist is all complete. We're approaching Alpha 2 at the end here. We're not going to do a full length because we won't need all that extra runway. Pulse lights and strobes come on. Our before takeoff checklist has been completed. Taxi lights can come away. And then as we're taking the runway here, I'll go ahead and arm our ground spoilers. Alright, enter runway 28 right. And lastly, what we're going to do before we take off here, I had this problem yesterday that the FMS did not auto-sequence past Portland because it has current present position PDX and then PEGD. So what we're going to do is we're going to go direct PEGD right now. It'll take a second to think about that. And there we go. That would just make sure that we're not going to have any issues with the auto sequence. Okay. We'll go ahead and engage our auto throttle. And then we have to take off, so we'll press toga. It's going to set the takeoff thrust for us. Okay, our takeoff thrust is set. Airspeed's alive. .80 knots hold. V1 rotate. Positive rate, gear up. .400 feet, flaps up. Okay, through 1,000 feet. Alright, we got altitude select to V speed IAS, and I'm going to go actually man speed and slow it up to about 220 here. And we have climb power selected. Just going to increase a little bit so it doesn't send our vertical speed through the moon. Okay, landing gear is up, flaps are up, ground spoilers are coming off, and our cabin is pressurizing. Alright, so I'll take it out of man speed and just put it into auto, because then it'll climb at 250 knots. Alright, so the airplane is going to continue here. Now we're climbing in FMS with VNAV IAS, which is just flight level change with the speed commanded by VNAV. So it's going to go ahead and climb because there's no restrictions here on the departure. It has nothing to comply with, so we will climb unrestricted to flight level 450, and I'll see you guys there. Okay, so we're just about leveled here at flight level 450. We kept it in VNAV for the climb. We can see that it transitioned to VMAC. to climb at the selected Mach airspeed. So it binged and then went to yellow, and there you can see it just transitioned to green. So we're at V out now, and then we're accelerating to Mach 0.85. Next, we'll go ahead and go down and to the progress page. We can see that we have 53 minutes to go until San Jose, and we're supposed to have 5,700 pounds. To check how long it is till our top of descent, you can see it right here. It's in 283 miles. So I will go ahead and check in with you guys once we're a little bit closer to top of descent. Alright, so we're currently about 25 miles away from our top of descent here down into San Jose. Now, when we look at our arrival here, we can see our restrictions. So, for example, above flight level 280, above flight level 220, and then high vac is going to be our final approach fix, which is at 2,700, and then we can see that 6,000 is about when we're going to hit our base, which is just about there. You can see that we kind of follow that arc, and then we'll go in kind of like that. So I'm going to set 6,000, and then we'll kind of vector ourselves. If I were flying online like on VATSIM, obviously it would just be whatever the controller assigns to me, but I'm going to set 6,000 here in our altitude pre-select. So I'm just going to scroll all the way down to 6,000, and then we are in V out right now at 6,000. And we have a little over 15 nautical miles to go until our top descent. When we reach that point, we'll see our glide slope, or I'm sorry, our VNAV path indicator show up here. That'll just be a little blue arrow, and I'll show you guys when we're actually capturing that and we start our descent, where we'll transition from V out to V path on the descent. Okay, so we're now at 3.2 miles to go to our top descent. So since our altitude is pre-selected below this, the airplane should go ahead and auto capture. Okay, so there we go. This is what I was talking about with our descent. So we have alt select to V path, and then that blue kind of arrow there is our glide path. So we can see that we're slowing down to Mach 0.8, and that's our descent speed. And then this arrow is basically going to slowly start to come down, and then when it captures in the middle, that's when we're going to see this vertical trend start to descend, and then it's going to, using the VNAV path calculated by the FMC, it'll descend on the path all the way down to either it meets a restriction on the arrival or until the VEEP, our altitude pre-select is met, whichever is first. So the airplane's going to go ahead and start down here, and I'll check in with you guys once we get a little bit closer, and we'll go over the approach and landing numbers. Okay, we're starting to finish up our descent here. Like I was mentioning earlier, I'm going to put the airplane into heading mode. So we're currently about heading 140, so I'm going to put it in heading mode, and then vertical speed. So now we're off of the VNAV path. Since we're no longer following the FMS path, the airplane doesn't know where the VNAV path is relative to our position. So let's see here. I'm going to make a left-hand turn about heading a 130 and keep the descent rate coming. We'll say about 1,700 feet a minute. The terrain here, it's kind of sitting in a valley, so there's a peaks over here and then peaks over here, so we'll probably get vectored. We'll kind of just arrange ourselves out here once we get to about 6,000 feet, which will happen right there at the end of that mark, and then we'll just turn ourselves in to the left. If you ever have your speed brake won't stow after you use it and you get the speed brake extended CAS message, simply just grab and then pull it up just all the way to make sure it gets back in the detent. So you can see we're 7,000 for 6,000 now. And if we don't break out of the clouds here shortly, I'm going to go down to 5,000 and start turning us kind of around there. Start turning us inbound. Starting to get a little bit of turbulence here on the descent. You can see the yoke is working pretty hard to keep us centered there. Alright, I'm going to keep our descent going down to 5,000 now. And we'll do a little bit shallower, about 1,000 feet a minute. Then I'm going to give ourselves a left turn, about heading 100 to kind of get us set up parallel with that ridge. At this point, since we are under our own kind of radar vectors, we can go nav and then set nav 1. And our course for the approach is going to be 306. So we'll set 306 over there. And now since we're on the on nav and we already tuned in our ILS frequency down there, we can see our glide slope in green and then our localizer in green also down there. Alright, and just as a review, we're going to be crossing high vac at or above 2,700, and then Jenny's, which is before it, at 3,200. Looks like we're not quite going to be breaking out here, so I'm going to go ahead and give ourselves a turn about heading 070, and then we'll turn left further to intercept the localizer. Here you go, start to see the mountains poke out there, but we're going to stay at 5,000 for now. I'm going to come left about 20 degrees. It's a little bit harder when you're flying offline because you don't have the VATSIM controllers to vector you around and stuff. You have to do it on your own. Alright, so now we're kind of set up on a left base. We've done all of our descent checklists. Everything is all taken care of. I'm going to get the speed coming back here to about 200. We'll get 1 notch of flaps coming out here shortly, kind of as we start to get a little bit closer to intercept. Just try to slow that speed down to help our localizer intercept go a little bit cleaner. The slower that we approach the localizer, the more lead time that the autopilot will have to intercept it. Alright, just as we're kind of starting to leave these peaks, I'm going to go down to 4,000. So we'll again do vertical speed at about 1,000 feet. 5,000 for 4,000. I'm going to go and put out flaps 10. And bring the speed back to 190. I'm kind of waiting about until I get on a about a 45-degree angle from our final approach fix. That'll give us a nice turn to intercept. Alright, we'll go left turn. Oh, heading of 360, and that should give us about a 60-degree intercept. So we'll actually go 350. Alright, so that actually is going to point us right about at Jenny's, so we're going to go 3,200 is the altitude restriction there. Again, vertical speed. And the airport should be just about off there. Go and keep the speed coming back about 170. Alright, so as we can see, we're currently left of the localizer. Since we're starting to come in now, I'm going to go ahead and arm the approach. So approach button, and then we can see here on the FMA that localizer is in white, so we're going to track on heading 350, and you can see our localizer start to come in. Our localizer is green, that means that it captured and we're starting to turn left to track in, and then we also captured the glide slope because we're just about on altitude. Alright, our missed approach altitude is going to be climb to 1,900. So I'll go ahead and set that 1,900. You can see that we're still on about a 9-mile final, but we are on the localizer and glide slope captured. Landing lights are on, and we currently have flaps 10 in. I'm going to wait until we get a little bit closer. Normally I like about a 5-mile final approximately before you start to put the gear down. Oh, and then I forgot to mention, also during cruise, our minimums for this birch are 257. That's the local. That's the ILS. So I just went up here and flight ref, baro, and then you can dial in your decision altitude. And you can set them that way. And then again, our V speed approaching at 125 with we'd like to ref at 115. Alright, coming through about 2,000 feet AGL, we'll go ahead and go gear down. Alright, our gear is down 3 green, we'll go flaps 20. Speed can go back to about 140. Alright, ground spoilers are coming armed for landing. Gear is down. We'll go speed back to 130 and we'll go flaps full. Alright, so we have our minimum set of 258 feet, and then we're tracking inbound on the localizer and glide slope. And we're currently on about a 3-mile final. Alright, I got the runway in sight. We're landing 30 left. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the speed selected back to 125. Coming through 1,000 feet, our gear is down, our flaps are down. We're on speed, we're on path. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the autopilot. Alright, so now I'm just hand flying the airplane, and at this point we're pretty much visual, so I'm just... Alright, 500 foot check, we're all good. I'm going to go ahead and mute the glide slope. We're visual, and especially with this long extended centerline, it's easy to drop below the glide slope, and so we'll mute that so it doesn't yell at us. I'll go and disconnect the auto throttle. Also grab the warning inhibit. Alright, there's our minimums. That's where we'd have to decide if we're going to be landing or not. Through 100 feet, I'm just going to slowly start bringing the power back at 50. Start to close it all the way out. Start the flare at about 15 feet and hold it off. There it is. Alright, reversers are out. Decel. There's 90, 80, 70, and 60 reversers are stowed on the rollout. And we'll plan to exit left on Juliet. Alright, we'll go ahead and stop here now that we're clear of the runway. Exterior lights will take off the strobes. Taxi lights can come on. APU master will come on. Flaps up. Ground spoilers disarmed. Alternate pumps off. Cowwing anti-ice. AOA heats can come off, and APU start. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna be taxiing to Atlantic, so we're gonna go ahead and make the left here on Whiskey 1. And because we took all that extra gas coming out of Portland, we still have 6,500 pounds on landing, which is extra gas. You know, it's good for contingency, but you certainly don't need to take that much. Alright, so we're just taxiing southeast here on Whiskey 1, and then we'll go ahead and get parked up at Atlantic and shut down the airplane. We'll go ahead and turn off the taxi light as we come into the ramp here. And then I think we'll just go ahead and make a 180-degree turn here and park inside this box. Okay. Transponder can go to standby. Parking brake is set. Nose wheel steering off. Seatbelt sign is coming off. Pumps are not arm and not arm. Cowwing NIS is off. Engine bleeds are coming off. Fuel control valve off, left and right. Beacon can come off. Right main boost pump can come off. APU bleed is on. And we'll go ahead and open up the main door as well as the cargo door. Alright, we'll go ahead and select take passengers to terminal, and we'll call up our van. Okay, so we're almost done here. We'll just go ahead and go to the securing checklist. Alright. Emergency power comes off. IRSs will come off. Cabin galley and 60 hertz. We'll go ahead and turn this whole bank off. APU will go ahead and stop. APU air will come off. Left main boost pump can come off. Nav light can come off. And then we'll wait for the APU RPM. It's currently cooling down, so it'll unload the APU and then it'll go ahead and shut down. There we go. We can start to see the APU RPM start to drop there. So we're just waiting for 0% on the APU RPM, and then we'll turn off the master. Or I'm sorry, it's APU master off below 70% RPM. So we'll go ahead and turn off the master. And there we go. Okay, now that's fully spooled down. We can just go ahead and turn off our left and right batteries. And that's the flight complete. Thank you so much for joining me. Feel free to leave any questions you have down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.